have another action. I'll go to the action palette, and it's called increase color separation. And we'll just hit play. What this action does is it brings it basically duplicates the image, converts it to lab color, and it increases the saturation, or actually contrast, in the A and B channel. A is basically, instead of having red, green, and blue, A represents, I believe, red to green, and then B is blue to yellow. So it increases the contrast in those two channels, which increases color separation and saturation in the image. So I'm just going to pull this down, grab the move tool, drag it over. Okay, so I'll turn this off and on. You can see that there is a lot more color separation and saturation. It doesn't look great for the image as a whole, so we're going to have to use masks for it. The reason why I initially used this was for the leaves, because it really makes greens pop and really saturates greens, as you can see. A downfall with this is that a lot of times it'll make shadow areas blue. So anything that's kind of a neutral or a shadow area, a lot of times will shift a little blue with it. So you'll have to mask those out. And often too, it's too strong of an adjustment, so you'll have to fade it down. If for some reason I liked it overall, but it was too much, I could knock it down like 40%. But if I wanted the leaves to be 100%, then I can just basically duplicate it, make it 100%, and then do just a color range and select these greens. Tone that down a little bit. And we'll add a mask there. So basically the trees, all the green areas that are 100%, and the rest of the image has the 40% saturation to it. But even at 40%, I think is too much. But we'll actually turn down 20%. Okay, and it's a little bit of a subtle adjustment, but it does kind of saturate the greens a little bit more. Next, I guess we can go for skin tone. And for skin tone, we'll do select color range again. I'll create a new group, and I'm going to do color range. I'll select skin. And I'm going to make sure I grab everybody, because this is going to be the master mask that'll affect everything. And then once I'm finished with this, then I'm going to isolate probably each individual person, because throughout an image, every person is going to be slightly different in how they're off. You can't just do a global adjustment for skin tone and affect everybody at once, because they're all going to be slightly different. And how much you do and how detailed you go really depends on the usage of the image too. I mean, if it's going to be used really small, then maybe just doing a global correction for the skin and trying to get them all somewhere close is fine. But if it's going to be a large image that's a little bit more important, then you want to spend the time to make it right. And really the most time-consuming part is making this first mask, and then isolating the people are a lot easier. So it really doesn't take that much time to color correct each person individually afterwards. So I made my selection, create a mask. I'm going to do the overlay again so I can see where my mask is, and see that picked up a lot of this tree trunk, and the guy's shorts, this kid's hair, and all this. So I can paint that off, or I can make selections around the people. It's really the easiest thing to do to start with. if you're using the polygonal lasso tool, and let me try it again here. And for some reason you make a point that's not quite right, if you hit the delete key, it'll remove the point. So a lot of times people think they have to escape and start over. You don't really have to. Okay, I selected the people. I'm going to Control Shift to invert the selection and fill it black, which is Alt backspace to fill with foreground color, and then I'll just kind of paint in.
Hello?
I got flick panning turned on, and then you just kind of paint in to around the people. One important thing is that doing quality color correction, does take time. You do have to, if you're gonna do it right, it's important to make sure all your masks are right, that you're not affecting all these weird areas that you're not intending on affecting, because a lot of times you can create these anomalies in other areas that it just looks funny. It might look like there's noise or harsh edges or something. So you got to really take care with your masks and make sure they're set up properly. Because for instance, this mask is the master mask for the skin tone, so you want to do that one right, and the other mask with inside it can be a little freer with, but this one's got to be pretty good. And yes, it's a time though. I'm just going to stop right now and just work on the skin tone, because I don't want to spend too much time working on masks, because it could take a little while. But just realize that to do it right, you're going to want to spend that time and really clean up your masks for the best results there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on each person individually, and I'm going to go back to my sample tool, color sample tool, and open my info palette, and I'm just going to pull that out and move it to the top here so I can see it. And so I have my first points in the water over here, so I'm going to move that to the woman's face. Let's start with her. And our arm. It's important to make several points on the person. If you can, put all of them on the person. Oh, I missed it too. I try to get different areas that are a little darker areas or lighter areas. In her, it's pretty flat. You're not getting a lot of highlights or some shadow areas, but it's kind of flat tones. But I just basically want to make sure that I'm covering multiple areas of her skin there. Okay, so I'm going to actually create another group for her, and I'll just make it woman. And I'm just going to make, because I have this master selection, I'm just going to grab like a marquee tool here and just make sure I get her and nobody else, and add that as a mask. And then we can start with curves. And now I'm reading all these different points on her. Some of these are still in RGB. I want them to be in CMYK.